My name is Arthur. I'm 68 years old. I always thought 68 sounded old, slowing down age. An age where life gently fades into routines and doctor appointments and early dinners. I never thought it would be the age where everything suddenly became very loud. Loud in my head, loud in my heart, loud in the questions I had been avoiding my entire life. For most of my years, I lived quietly. I did what was expected. I followed the path laid out in front of me without asking too many questions. And to be honest, I thought that was what adulthood was supposed to look like. You work hard, you provide, you don't complain, you tell yourself there will be time later. 3 months ago, that idea shattered. I was sitting in a small hospital room that smelled faintly of disinfectant and burnt coffee. One of those rooms where time feels suspended, like the air itself is waiting for bad news. The doctor kept talking, explaining test results, staging, treatment timelines. She used words she'd clearly said 1,000 times before. I nodded, like I understood, but honestly, I stopped hearing her after one sentence. Stage 3. Not stage 1, not we caught it early, not this should be simple. Stage 3. I expected fear to hit me like a wave. I expected panic. I expected anger. But what surprised me wasn't fear. It was the calm. A strange, heavy calm. The kind that settles in your bones before your brain can make sense of it. Like my body already knew something my mind hadn't caught up to yet. I remember staring down at my hands resting on my knees, wrinkled, veined, familiar. These hands have held my children. These hands signed contracts. These hands paid bills and shook other men's hands in conference rooms. And suddenly, one thought filled my mind. These hands have done so much, and still, I don't know if I use them the right way. The first week after a diagnosis like that is surreal. You move through life like you're underwater. Sounds are muffled. Time stretches. You call your children and hear your own voice trying to sound strong. You reassure your spouse while she's trying not to cry. You start making lists, appointments, tests, insurance paperwork. You research treatments late at night and close the browser before the statistics finish loading because you're not ready to see numbers attached to your life. You're not living. You're managing. But the second week, that's when the truth shows up uninvited. It doesn't knock. It doesn't ask permission. One morning, I woke up before sunrise and sat at the edge of the bed. The house was quiet. The world hadn't started yet. I watched my wife sleeping beside me, the slow rise and fall of her chest, the way her hand rested instinctively near mine even after all these years. And suddenly, I felt this crushing weight in my chest, not because I might die, but because I realized how much of my life I had postponed. I spent 40 years working in corporate logistics, 40 years of meetings that blurred together, deadlines that felt urgent at the time but mean nothing now, emails marked important that nobody remembers. I was good at my job, reliable, responsible, the kind of companies like to keep around. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I'd slow down after the next promotion, after the kids were grown, after retirement. But life doesn't wait for after. When I was in my 20s, before responsibilities hardened around me, I wanted to be a photographer. Not famous, not rich. I didn't dream of galleries or rewards. I just loved capturing ordinary moments. Sunlight hitting a kitchen table in the early morning. An old man tying his shoes on a park bench. My wife laughing when she thought nobody was watching. There was something honest about freezing a moment in time, about saying this mattered. I bought a camera, used it for a year, then put it in a drawer when work started getting serious. That camera stayed in that drawer for 35 years. Marriage, children, bills, promotions. Every year I told myself I'd take it out again soon. Soon became never. After my diagnosis, while everyone around me focused on treatment schedules and medication lists, I did something that confused the people I loved. I opened that drawer. The camera was dusty, the battery was dead, the strap smelled faintly of old leather and time. But when I held it, something inside me stirred. Not excitement exactly, recognition. Like meeting an old version of myself I'd abandoned without saying goodbye. My wife watched me quietly. Later she asked, "Arthur, why now?" I didn't have a clever answer, no inspirational quote, no dramatic speech. All I could say was, because I finally understand that later is not guaranteed. Chemotherapy is not poetic. It's not brave speeches or dramatic moments. It's exhaustion that settles deep in your bones. It's food tasting like metal. It's your body feeling like it belongs to someone else. Some days, walking to the mailbox feels like climbing a mountain. But on the days I have energy, even a little, I take photographs again. Nothing fancy, nothing staged. My wife's hands while she washes dishes. The shadow of a tree stretching across our backyard in the afternoon. My grandson concentrating so hard while tying his shoes that he sticks out his tongue without realizing it. These photos won't win awards, but they feel honest. Cancer does something strange to time. It shrinks it. Suddenly arguments feel pointless. Ego feels embarrassing. The things you once thought mattered just don't. I stopped worrying about being productive. I stopped pretending I cared about office politics. I stopped saving joy for someday. My daughter told me something last month that cut deeper than any diagnosis. She said, "Dad, I wish I knew you like this when I was a kid." I didn't defend myself. I didn't explain. I didn't argue. Because she was right. I was always there, but not always present. Here's the truth nobody talks about. Regret doesn't scream. It whispers. It shows up as missed dinners, postponed trips, hobbies abandoned, conversations rushed. And one day you realize your life was very responsible, but not very alive. We're all temporary. Every single one of us. Some people just get reminded sooner. That reminder doesn't mean panic. It means clarity. Now, when I sit during treatment hooked up to machines, I don't think about my resume or my bank account. I think about moments. I think about my wife leaning her head on my shoulder. I think about the sound of a camera shutter. I think about how lucky I am to still be here, today. If you're watching this thinking, I can't just change my life, listen carefully. I didn't change everything. I changed what mattered. I didn't quit responsibility. I quit postponing meaning. Start small. One honest conversation, one neglected passion, 1 hour reclaimed from things that don't matter. Don't wait for a diagnosis to wake you up. Don't wait for permission. You already have it. I don't know how long I have. Months? Years? Nobody knows. But I know this. For the first time in decades, I'm not just passing time. I'm living inside it. And that makes all the difference.